In the last section, we noticed a big issue inside of our application. When we went to post/new, we saw both the post index component and the post new component appear on the screen at the same exact time. And so if you recall a little bit ago, I said that we did kind of leave in a little bug around React Router. So this is that bug right here. This is the kind of outstanding issue that I mentioned a little bit ago. Again, I left this in very purposely because this is something I think that you'll probably run into when you start working on your own application. And so I wanted to point it out, make sure that it's really clear why this is being caused. So just to reiterate, the problem here is that we are seeing both components appear on the screen while we go to the post/new route. But if we look at our route configuration, we have one route that says, well, hey, only show if the user is on the root route, and then another one that says, show if we are on post/new. So when we're on post/new, we see the post new component. So I would say that this appears to be working the way we expect. When we go to that route, we see that component, everything is working the way we expect. So I really think that there's probably something wrong about this route definition right here. Something is going wrong with this statement. So let me cut to the chase and tell you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes. When you specify a path property on a route, it is matched kind of like fuzzily against the current route. So React Router really says, okay, I see this route has a path of /. Does this route right here contain a / in it? And the answer is obviously, yeah, it does contain a / right here, right after the 8080. So React Router says, well, I'm going to try to just kind of lazily or kind of fuzzily or loosely match the route path against the current route that the user is looking at. And so it thinks, well, hey, there's a /, so I guess we're good to go. We could probably see the same behavior if we put, say, posts in here. So now, if I save this and refresh the page, we're going to see both components appear on the screen, even though very clearly I'm on /post/new. So the API around React Router behaves just a little bit unexpectedly here. If you're used to traditional routing in web applications like, say, Express or Rails or Django, Flask, anything like that, you kind of wouldn't really expect this right here to match the path that we are seeing inside the browser right now. So React Router kind of does this loose match. Again, kind of unexpected. So the solution is to use another component coming out of React Router. And that component, here, before we pull that in, I'm going to delete post right here because we don't want to deal with that route. So that component that we're going to pull in is called the switch component. So let's import it from React Router DOM. We'll get switch right there. The switch component takes in a collection of different routes. So in practice, we usually nest a couple of routes within a switch component, like this right here. The switch component will look at all the routes inside of it, and then it will decide to only render the first route that matches the current URL. So in other words, you want to put your most specific routes at the top of the list. So I'm going to move post/new above just /. So I'll put my most specific route at the top of routes that we're passing off to the switch. When switch tries to render all of its children, it's going to say, okay, what's the first route inside of here, or what's the first route inside of this list that matches the current URL? So while / still does match the current URL of post/new, this route right here also matches it as well. It is listed above the root route, and so this one will be rendered instead of post index. So let's save this file and test it out inside the browser now. So we'll refresh. And okay, now we see just post/new. And if we go back to our root route of localhost 8080, we correctly see posts with hi there listed. So this is working way more around the realms of what we would probably expect. If you're used to React Router version 2 or version 3, so any of the previous versions of React Router, this is probably the biggest difference in the API. If you are familiar with those previous versions, you probably recognize the browser router, the route component, all that kind of stuff, but it's the inclusion of this switch thing in here that starts to kind of change up the API a little bit. Okay, so again, we fixed this problem right here. Let's continue on in the next section.